Good morning, sorcery fans. Welcome to my second Dragonlord deck tech and discussion video on the channel. Last time I looked at my Air, Fire, Add an Item, Ignis Rex deck. Today we're going to build a similar two-color Dragonlord avatar deck using the Dragonlord avatar from the mini set. We're going to build around Moonsong Telegellum today. So this will be a two-color Air, Earth deck featuring this Moonsong Telegellum that has airborne, and it counts as a Grey Wolves and has +1 power for each other Grey Wolves nearby. Therefore, I'm going to stack the deck with a number of Grey Wolves. These are from beta. Your spellbook may include any number of Grey Wolves, and it has +1 power for each other Grey Wolves nearby. So this reminds me of the old Playgrass decks from Magic the Gathering. It's going to be a 60 card two-color, very casual Dragonlord deck. We're going to see how it flies. You can add cards to this if you want to make it a little more competitive. It's got 40 spellbooks, 20 atlases. If you want to make it a 50-30 or a 60-40 card deck, go right ahead and do that. Take it to your local Star City Games convention and try to win the whole thing. Do like this video if you're interested in sorcery content, deck techs, box openings. I have a couple playlists on my channel. If you subscribe, you can see all of my beta and Arthurian Legends sorcery deck tech and discussion videos, as well as my box opening and pack opening videos. Alright, so let's dive into this Dragonlord deck tech today and let you know what I'm piloting. Starting with the Dragonlord avatar, this is trading for about $25 to $30 now on TCG Player. Its special ability is that before setup, you set it aside a unique dragon, and then once on your turn, if you meet its threshold, you may pay 3 colorless mana to gain its ability this turn. Last time in the Air Fire deck, we tried to use the Kairos, the Archivist, to give the Dragonlord its Genesis and Deathrite abilities. Since that video, I've discovered that that is not possible. So this deck, we have a number of other dragons that we can use to give it extra abilities. Namely, we could use the Moonsong Telegellum, but I'm going to save that for the Grey Wolves. I'm also going to include the Draco Corvus, which is also an Air Earth unique dragon. So one copy of the Draco Corvus, which we could set aside for the Dragonlord if we wanted to. It has airborne and stealth, and its tap ability is to teleport a target tapped minion to burrow it. I'm also going to include the air and earth dragons from the Dragonlord mini set, so we can include the Add an Item in our build, which is the air dragon that we saw in the last deck tech. It has airborne and movement +1, and whenever Add an Item stops, she may deal 3 damage to another random unit there. So there's going to be more earth spells in this deck than air spells, but I will try to balance the mana base to make it possible to cast any of these dragons at any time. The next dragon I'm going to include is the Talim Dreeg. This is the earth dragon. 7 colorless, 3 earth threshold. It is a 6/6 unique dragon that cannot be moved by force. It also has +1 power for each adjacent site. So I'm going to put this over here on the earth side. I'm going to include the colorless dragons and relics in this deck as well. We have the unique Cradle of Ethereum, 2 colorless. Anytime during your turn, you may look at your next spell. You may cast dragons from the top of your spellbook here for 1 less. So we have several dragons in this deck that we hope to cast at a discount with the Cradle. I'm going to include the Kairos just because it's a cool ability. Not going to use it for the Dragonlord avatar this time, but I'm going to include it in the deck as one of the 40 spells. Its Genesis ability is to archive the state of the realm. Its Deathrite ability is to return all archive cards to the recorded state, then banish Kairos. And finally, the last card from the Dragonlord set, not including the Atlases, but the last spell from the Dragonlord that I'm going to include is the most popular Shrine of the Dragonlord. This is a unique monument. Its Genesis ability is to teleport all dragons to here, and since I will have at least 4 dragons in this deck that I could teleport, it's a pretty good card in this deck, and the site provides an additional 1 colorless and 1 threshold of any element. Now for the rest of the beasts and spells in this deck, I'm going to run 19 copies of Grey Wolves. These are all from the beta release. They cost 2 colorless and 1 earth threshold. It's a 1/1 beast. Art is by Melissa A. Benson. And as I mentioned before, your spellbook can contain as many of these as you would like. Some people have included 25 or more in their deck, but I'm going to go with 19. Grey Wolves plus the Moonsong Telegellum is technically 20 Grey Wolves in this deck out of a 40 card spellbook, so 50% of the deck is going to be Grey Wolves related. I will also include 2 copies of Berry. This is an ordinary magic from the beta release. It has special abilities to burrow target minion or artifact if you are able. I'm going to include 2 copies of Land Surveyor, which is pretty good in beta. Its Genesis ability lets you draw a site. I will include 2 copies of Earthquake from the Earth side. It's an elite magic. Then you may rearrange sites within a 2x2 area, carrying along everything of normal size. Then you burrow all minions and artifacts on those sites. And finally, on the Earth side, I'm going to include 2 copies of Mixed Terra. This is an elite potion from beta. When you sacrifice Mixed Terra this turn, the bearer's next Earth spell requires no threshold and costs 3 less to cast. So possibly you could cast your Talam Dreeg for 4 colorless mana. This deck, like the last one, will include cards from all 3 of the Sorcery Contested Realm sets. We've got the Alpha Beta, Grey Wolves, we have Arthurian Legends, as well as Sorcery Dragonlord. On the air side, I've got 1 copy of Grapple Shot, which is a really powerful magic. It's an ordinary, but I'm only going to include 1 copy. It costs 3 and 1 air threshold. An ally shoots a projectile. If it hits a unit, the ally is dragged to that location and may strike the hit unit when it arrives there. I'll place that underneath the add an item. I'm going to include 3 copies of Lightning Bolt. These are ordinary magics that deal 3 damage to a random unit at a target location. I'm going to include 2 copies of Mixed Air on the air side. This is when you sacrifice the Mixed Air this turn. Bearer's next air spell requires no threshold and costs 3 less to cast, so that's pretty helpful if you want to try to cast your add an item at a discount. For the sites, I'm going to include 20 atlases in this deck. Most of them are going to be Earth atlases. Some are going to be multicolor atlases, and then a few of them are going to be air atlases, just to make sure I can cast add an item or Moonsong if I need to. On the Earth side, I'm going to include 3 copies of Rustic Village. This is an ordinary atlas from the beta release. Its Genesis ability is that you may pay 1 colorless to summon a Foot Soldier token here. Let's do sites over here. I'm going to include 3 Earth sites from the most recent Arthurian Legends release. I couldn't decide which one to put in because the special abilities are all useful in sorcery. So I'm going to include 1 copy of Briar Patch, just like the Dust Reward promos I just picked up from the Dust Reward site. Briar Patch is an exceptional site. You could include 3 copies if you wanted to. Whenever an enemy unit enters or leaves the site, it takes 1 damage. So this would be potentially useful against your opponents that have smaller minions. I will include 1 copy of Impenetrable Copse. It's another exceptional Earth site. Projectiles cannot enter this site from the outside, so some protection against projectiles there. And finally, the Pebbled Paths exceptional site is the 3rd Arthurian Legends Earth site I'm going to add into this deck. Minions atop nearby site lose charge. So this will kind of prevent against all 3 of those. I think it kind of makes a neat little panoramic woods picture here. So I'm going to include all 3 of those in the deck as well. I'm going to include 2 copies of Rift Valley. It's an Earth site from Alpha Beta. You may pull apart a partial row or a column to make a void in which to play this site. So you can move some sites around, drop 1 of these or 2 of these onto the battlefield. Those are the 2. And then the final Earth site I'm going to include in this deck is the Pillar of Zeros. It's a unique site from Alpha Beta. Its Genesis ability is to banish all dead minions, and you heal 1 life for each of those. Really cool card, really powerful. That is going to go in the deck as well. And then on the air side, I've got a Dark Tower, a Gothic Tower, and a Lone Tower, all from the beta release. So those are going to go in there. The Genesis ability on each of these is that if it's the only blank tower you control, you gain +1 this turn. So for that reason, I'm only going to include one of each of those. I will include 2 copies of Observatory. This is an elite site, air site from the beta release. Art is by Margaret Organ Keene. Its Genesis ability is to look at the next 3 spells and you put them back in any order. I'm going to include 3 copies of Windmill. This is a dual land air and earth site, and it gives you threshold for either air or earth, depending on what you need to cast, which dragons you need to cast. I will include 2 copies of the Sinkhole. It's an elite site from beta. Sacrifice Sinkhole, destroy nearby site. So there's a little bit of land destruction in this deck. And then finally, the Dragonlord's Lair from Dragonlord. This is a unique site. Dragons cast to the site require no threshold and cost 1 less to cast. This will be very effective because we have a couple dragons in this deck that we can use to employ its ability. So those are the 60 cards in my second Dragonlord Avatar deck tech. Let me know in the comments how you think this will do. Let me know also what cards you would switch out of this deck to make it a little more competitive for all you competitive players out there. Thanks again for watching this Dragonlord Avatar deck tech and discussion video. Like, subscribe, see you more sorcery content in the upcoming videos. Thanks everyone. Have a great day.